Hello friends, welcome to Galaxy Online Learning. I am Sunil Desai and we are studying the second chapter of Political Science. And the name of the chapter is the Electoral Process. Okay, so come to page 75 of your textbook, the Electoral Process. You must have heard, friends, a lot about elections in the last couple of years. Because in the last couple of years, two major elections have taken place. The first election was for the Lok Sabha elections to choose our representative for the Lok Sabha. The representative is called the MP or the Khasdar. And the second election was to choose our representative for the legislative assembly at the state level. Okay, that representative is called the MLA or the Amdar. So you have heard about a lot about the elections in the last 2 years, and you have also realized how elections play a major role in the working of democracy in India. Okay? Elections and representations are two very important processes in democracy. Because what happens in election is that we choose a representative, because we in democracy, the whole population can't come together and take decisions. So we have to choose a representative who can take decisions on our behalf. And this representative is elected. Okay, we choose a representative from the number of candidates through these different elections. Okay, so elections help to bring a change in power through peaceful way. Because if in a democracy we need election, if there is no democracy, then in the change of power, what you see, lot of blood is lost. Yes, in countries where there is no democracy, when there is a change of power, lot of blood is lost. But because we stay in a democracy, there is many times when there is a change of power, it happens through a very peaceful way. Okay? So, what happens after the elections? We choose a new government. So, there is always a chance of change of power. Okay? And so when there is a change of power, what will happen? The policies of the government may change, because each party has its own political ideology. Okay? And as a result, the society also changes. So what do we expect from our representative? We expect that our representative should be efficient, hardworking, honest and trustworthy. Moreover, he should be respecting the opinion of the public. Okay? Second thing is that the electoral process through which elections are taken place should also be free, fair and reliable. Okay? And to ensure this, to ensure free, fair and reliable elections. The elections should be taken place in a free and fair way. The Constitution of India has made special provisions for an independent election commission to administer the electoral process in India. Okay, this particular election commission of India, along with the state election commission, together they conduct all important elections. In fact, it is their responsibility to conduct all the elections. The entire process, right from preparing the voters list, the declaring the date of elections, till the declaration of results, everything comes under their jurisdiction. It is for them to decide when to declare the dates, when to declare the result, how the election has to be conducted, the timetable of the election, everything. It is the election commission which has to decide. So, the election process is an inseparable component of a comprehensive democratic process. So, you can't think about democracy without electoral process. So, in this chapter, we are going to understand the structure, the functions and the role of election commission. We will also discuss the reforms required to make the electoral process a free, fair and a reliable process. Now, what do you mean by representation? Representation because today's democracy is a representative democracy. The whole population can't come together and sit and take decisions. It's just not physically possible. So, we choose a representative who on our behalf is going to take certain decisions. Okay? So, the representatives who form the government are expected to be responsible to the people and give preference to public welfare. Okay, that is very important. Now let us come to the Election Commission. In India, the Election Commission is the the main important part of the process of elections. Okay. The Article 324 of the Indian Constitution has established this autonomous body which consists of one Chief Election Commissioner and two other election commissioners to assist him. Okay, so the Election Commission was constituted through Article 324 of the Constitution. Okay, and it is an autonomous body, it's an independent body, it can take its own decision. Okay, it's not a body which depends on any other institution. Okay, so this election commission is made up of one Chief Election Commissioner and two other commissioners who are going to assist him. Now, who appoints this election commissioner? The President appoints the election commissioner, but the Chief Election Commissioner, you can't remove, the government can't remove the Chief Election Commissioner easily, okay, or on account of political reasons. It's not easy to remove a Chief Election Commissioner. For political reasons से तो कभी भी नहीं. Okay, this is necessary so that the independence of the election commission is preserved. Suppose if the government had the authority to remove an election commissioner, naturally the election commissioner would have taken decisions in favor of the government. But now it doesn't have to worry. The election commission doesn't have to worry about the government. It can take a fair decision. Okay? There is a separate provision made for the expenses of the election commission. Again, the election commission doesn't depend for money on the government. So again, it has been made, it has its separate provision. In the constitution, it has been given separate provisions, okay, to run the election commission. Okay? So again, it doesn't depend on the government. The election commission does not have a separate staff. Okay, they don't have a separate staff. The government officers, the teachers and other government officers or the employees of the government, they execute the process of elections as given by the election commission. So the election commission contains a chief election commissioner and two other commissioners. But the staff of the election commission is what? Now they don't have a separate staff. The staff of the election is the government officers, the teachers and other employees of the government, okay, who work for the election commission during elections. Okay. Now, let us see we saw how the election commission is formed. Now let us see the functions of the election commission. The first function of the election commission is to prepare the voters list. As you know, every Indian citizen who has completed 18 years of age can vote in an election. He has got the right to vote. But to exercise the right to vote, his name has to be in the voters list. So it is the responsibility of the election commission to prepare the list of eligible voters. It has to prepare, it has also to update, because what happens is a few voters, they may change their residences from one area, they may go to the other area. So you have to always update them. Okay, you have to have new voters. Suppose the new voters, those who have attained the age of 18 that year, they are eligible to vote. So updating of the voters list is also the duty, responsibility of the election commission. The election commission also has the authority to issue identity cards for the voters. Okay. The second function of the election commission is to decide the timetable and the program of elections. The conduct of elections is entirely the responsibility of the election commission. Okay. So it has to decide when to conduct the elections and in how many stages to hold the elections in every state. It is the responsibility of the election commission. Okay. The third function of the election commission is to scrutinize the applications of the candidates. After the election dates are declared, every political party selects their candidate for the elections. Okay. So some candidates contest the elections independently without the support. They are called independent candidates. But those political parties, there are political parties who also select their candidates for the elections. Now, these candidates who have been selected by the party to contest the elections, or the independent candidates who wanted to contest the elections, have to fill an application form, okay, which includes the information about their own self. They have to fill in an application form, and this contains the information of that person. Okay. The election commission has to scrutinize. The election commission scrutinizes all the applications and allow the eligible candidates to contest the election. So scrutinizing the application forms of candidates and allowing them to contest elections is again the responsibility of the function of the election commission. Now the fourth function of the election commission is to give recognition to political parties, because in India you find so many different parties. It's a multi-party democracy in India. So new parties continue to be formed. Old parties, the big parties, they split to form new parties. Okay. So all political parties are required to be recognized by the election commission. Election commission has also the right to de-recognize any political party. The election commission also allots election symbols to the political party. Now why is it necessary to allot election symbols? Because who is a voter? Who can be on the voter list? Anyone above the age of 18. So there may be many illiterates. He also has the right to vote. Okay, and if he is not able to read or write, then how he can cast his vote? So a symbol is given. So he identifies that particular person through the symbol, the particular candidate through the symbol, and he cast his vote. That's why election symbol is given to all the parties. Okay. to each contestant. The fifth function of the Election Commission is to resolve any disputes relating to elections. Okay, it has the responsibility to resolve any dispute regarding the elections. So, it can declare any candidate as disqualified or conduct re-election in a particular constituency. That is the responsibility of the Election Commission. Now let us come to page number 75. In the green block in the right hand side, you see a person. Okay, this person is Sukumar Sen. He was the first Chief Election Commissioner of independent India. Sen was in the Indian Civil Services. He had joined the Indian Civil Services in 1921. Okay, under the British rule. He was given the charge of the Election Commissioner after the Election Commission was established in 1950. Okay, the Election Commission was established in 1950. The reason? Because we became a republic in 1950. The Constitution was accepted on 26th of January 1950. So all these offices came to establish in that year, that is 1950. And Mr. Sen efficiently handled the responsibility of the Chief Election Commissioner in extremely advanced conditions in the first general elections which were held in 1951-52. Okay. Now, then let us come to this on page number 76. Why is it required? When candidates have only the condition of age as eligibility, why should they give other information to the Election Commission? Or why are the candidates required to give the information of their property to the Election Commission? See, now these candidates are going to be the representative of the common people. And it is the right of the common people to know the person whom they are going to elect as a representative. They should know him very well. They should know his political ideology. They should know his personal things, his age, his qualification, whether he is learned or not. Okay, then whether the way whether there is any crime against him, everything has to be noted. That is why it is very necessary that not along with the age is important, but all other aspects, his personal life, his economical, financial situation, his social situation, everything should be known to the public who are going to vote him as their representative. They should also know whether he is trustworthy, whether they can trust him, whether he is an efficient person, whether they can rely upon him. Okay, so that is the reason for this. Okay, that he has to give all this information. Now, why is it so? Some constituencies are kept reserved for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. See, as you know, for a long time, these people, this particularly who are in the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, were alienated from the mainstream of India. So, to bring these people in the mainstream of India, it was necessary to give them some reserved constituencies. So, only in that reserved constituencies, only the candidate of a scheduled caste and scheduled tribe can contest elections. So, you get people from a particular group or particular class to raise their voice. The people from this particular scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, they can have their own representative to raise their voice in the Lok Sabha or the Vidhan Sabha. Okay. Every political has an election symbol. I just told you. for the illiterate people. It is necessary they identify the candidate with the election symbol. Okay, that is the reason. At the time of voting and counting of votes, the official representatives of political parties remain present. See, at the time of voting or at the time of counting of votes, why you have an person belonging to a particular, all the political parties are present at the time, because afterwards, after the election, they should not say that the election commission was biased. Everything, the whole process is a transparent process being had in front of their eyes. It's a transparent process. So later on, no one can blame the election commission that this during the voting, this malpractices took place. That's why you have an agent of all the political parties present in the at the time of voting as well as at the time of counting of the votes. Recognized parties have equal opportunity to present their side before media such as television and radio. See, as you know, ours is democracy and we advocate fair and free election. So each and every party should have equal amount of time to have the say. They can contact with their voters. So that is the reason why recognized parties have equal opportunity. They are given equal time to deliver their speeches. Okay, so they can be heard by the people. Okay, that's why equal, no bias, since it should be free and fair. Now, which two conditions among the following, you have to tell me now, which two conditions among the following is the violation of code of conduct? When do you think that the code of conduct is violated? Now let us see the first situation. The candidate distributes items of household use to the voting public. Is it a violation of conduct? Yes. Because by distributing household items, what he is doing? He is trying to bribe them to vote him. Promise made to resolve the water problem if elected. Okay. Now, this again, you can't give false promises. So this is again a violation of conduct, particularly if he gives it in a time. The way he is giving, that's important. Okay. It may be a violation of conduct, but if he is giving a promise before the elections are declared, then it is not a violation of conduct. To go from door to door to meet voters and request them to vote, that right he has, that's not a violation of conduct, it's not a violation of conduct. To appeal on the basis of caste and religion to get support is again a violation of conduct. You can't appeal on the basis of caste because ours is a secular country. You can't appeal for votes on basis of caste or religion. Okay, so now here you see a picture of Mr. Shyam Charan Negi, who was the first voter. He exercised the right to vote on 25th October 1951 in the first Lok Sabha election. He is from Himachal Pradesh, the first voter of India. Okay. So that is what we saw, the functions of the election commission. Now let us come to the process of the election. Okay. So the process of the election starts from establishing the constituencies, the geographical areas. Okay. There are 543 constituencies in India. That means there are 543 representatives. So each constituency has one representative. So establishing a constituency, demarking a constituency is the first step towards election. Then in that constituency, the election process has to finalize the voters list. Finalizing the voters list is the second step. Nomination of candidates and scrutiny of their nomination form is the third step. The candidates who are going to contest the election, they are going to fill a form, and for this filling of form they need nomination. So nomination of candidates, okay, the application forms have to be scrutinized. Then comes the election campaign, where each candidate tries and appeals to the public, to the voters, to vote for him. That is the election campaign. Then comes the time when a date is declared. Okay, so on that date, particular date, voting is going to take place. So actual voting is the next step. Followed by actual voting is the counting of votes. After the actual voting is done, then you have to count the votes to see which candidate has got the maximum votes. So counting of votes is the next step. After the counting of votes, it is the declaration of the results of the election. That is the next step. And the last step is to resolve the disputes regarding the election. So this is the whole process of election. So from the forming the constituency, establishing the constituencies till the declaration of results, and if there are any resolutions, okay, or dispute, if there are any disputes, resolution of this dispute is also the work that comes under the process of election. Because suppose in that dispute, if the election commission feels that the election has to be taken place, then the process doesn't end. Again, an election takes place in that particular constituency. Okay? Disqualifying an candidate can also take place, so it needs re-election. Okay? Now, the process of election we are studying in a little detail. The restructuring of the constituencies, let us see. The total number of members in the Lok Sabha are 543. Now, in each constituency you have one member. Okay, so it means 543, so 500 members in the Lok Sabha. Creating constituencies is the responsibility of the Delimitation Commission of the Election Commission. The Election Commission has a commission inside. Okay, in the Election Commission there is a commission called the Delimitation Commission, and it decides the constituency. Okay, the Delimitation Commission does not succumb to any pressure while restructuring the constituency. Okay, no political party can force its pressure on the Delimitation Commission. Now, what is the code of conduct? Okay, so to have free and fair election, there should be a certain code of conduct. Means the political parties, the candidates, will have to behave in a particular way, and this behavior of the candidates or the political parties in the particular way as suggested by the Election Commission is called the Code of Conduct. So to ensure free and fair elections in India, the Election Commission has several measures, different measures. The Code of Conduct is one of the measures adopted by the Election Commission. In the last few decades, the Election Commission has used its power to control the malpractices during elections. The Code of Conduct explains the rules that are to be followed by the government, political parties, and voters before elections and during elections. Even the government cannot violate these rules. Understood? Even the government, though it is governing the country, it cannot violate the code of conduct set up by the Election Commission. Due to the strict observance of this code of conduct, in the last few elections, the common voters have become more confident while voting. Okay? Now let us see what problems do the Election Commission face in conducting free and fair elections. See, our country, India, is a huge country. So, as the size of the country is huge, the number of voters is also very, very high. So, conducting elections in such a huge democracy, in such a big democracy, is really a challenging task. The Election Commission has to work in accordance with the law while dealing with these challenges. Now, what are these challenges? Let us see. Misuse of money is the very first challenge. Many candidates, many political parties, okay, they try to bribe people by giving them money. And because this bribing of money takes place on a large scale in the elections. So, the Election Commission has to take several measures to stop such a misuse of money. That's why you see in the newspaper, news in the newspapers or on the TV, that the Election Commission has asked the police to seize cash money, to conduct raids on cars, on houses during Election Commission, and to find if illegal money transfer is being carried out. Okay. So second challenge is many political parties, they give election tickets to the candidates which are those candidates who are criminal. They are criminal elements. Okay, they have criminal background. So many political parties, they give candidature to persons who have criminal background. This results not only in the criminalization of politics, but the Election Commission also faces problem in ensuring that elections are conducted in a free environment, because a person with criminal background can show muscle power to the people, to the voters. So it becomes difficult for free and fair elections. Another major challenge is violence during elections. The extent of violence has increased significantly during elections. So, all political parties should help the Election Commission to control this violence. And one more challenge is to retain a continuing influence on politics. Leaders give election tickets to their own relatives. Many times what happens? The leaders, they give tickets to their own relatives. This practice creates a family monopoly in politics. So that's a challenge for the Election Commission. Okay? It's a very difficult challenge. Now, think about how political parties suffer due to family monopoly in the party. What happens? Does the political party suffers? What do you think? Due to family, you see so many political parties in India today. There are many family monopolies. Means many people from the same family have been given tickets. What happens because of it? So that's not democracy in the people, because the person, a common person, a common what you call is a man, a common leader who doesn't have a family background, a common worker, that's the right word, the common worker of a particular political party may not get, though he is eligible to get. He has all the qualifications. He is a hard-working person, he is a honest person, he is working with the people, but still he doesn't get a chance because the leaders of that particular party want their family to grow. They should get the ticket. So this is one of the laws of that party. Okay. What do you understand by the system one vote, one value? What do you mean by that? This means that every vote, every citizen has got, every adult above the age of 18 has got the right to vote, and he has got the right to only one vote. So the value is just one. That particular adult may be a rich person, may be a poor person, he may be a film star, or he may be a beggar. The value of the vote of a film star or an industrialist is as the same as the value of a laborer, a value of a middle class person, a value of a student studying. Okay, so that is what is the meaning of one vote, one value. Okay. Now we saw the process, electoral process. We saw the functions of the election commission. We saw how the election commission is formed. Now let us see the electoral reforms. What electoral reforms are necessary in this Indian democracy? Because these elections are going to be taken it's a continuous process, every year for that matter. In different parts of India, different elections are taking place. So the future of democracy depends on these elections. So the electoral process becomes reliable if the election process gets improved. So they have suggested certain reforms. Okay. First reform is to increase the participation of women in politics. So the political parties should give 50% candidature to women candidates and try to ensure that they get elected. So they suggest a reform that more and more women should be given tickets by the political parties, because women are 50% of the population. Okay, so they should give tickets to women as candidates for the election, and also ensure that they win the election. They should be supporting these women candidates. They should put all their might behind this women candidate so that they win the elections and they come to the Lok Sabha as the representative of women, because women are 50% of the population. Political parties, on the reform, they suggest a reform that political parties should not give candidature to candidates having criminal background. They should strictly follow the decision given by courts in this respect. Why this reform? Because if they don't allow people with criminal background the candidature, then what will happen? The criminalization of politics will automatically come down. So the muscle power in the elections will come down, and it will be easy for the voters. They will be more confident to cast their votes. The government should take care. Then there is also a suggestion that the government should take care of the election expenses. Now what happens is that the election expenses are borne by the political parties or the candidate himself. So what happens? A candidate who is rich, he overshadows a candidate who is poor, because a poor person is good at politics, is good in serving the people, but since he doesn't have the means to, that much of means, he doesn't have that money power to contest the elections, he is overshadowed by a person who is not as good as him, but who is rich. So if the government pays for the expenses of the election, then the money power, the muscle power comes into being, and the election will be more free and fair. But is it possible for the government to spend so much money on elections? Okay. So the misuse of money will come down. Second is representation of the People's Act should be amended so that criminals having criminal background will not be able to participate in elections. So the representation of the People's Act has to be amended. There should be corrections made so that the election commission can disqualify the people, the candidate who has a criminal background. Now, you see on page number 78, the green square, what it says. Do you know, at the time of the first elections which were held in 1951-52, preparing the voters list was a very, very difficult task. Okay, the first time the task was been taken up, so it was a very difficult task. And as many people were illiterate at that time, the illiteracy rate of India was very, very low at that time. Okay, so a special procedure of voting was used in the elections. The procedure was quite different. You may find it funny, but it was there at that time. So, what they did at the time, 20 lakh steel boxes were made for voting purposes. 20 lakh steel boxes were made for voting purposes, and on that box, if there's a box, on that box, the election symbol of a particular, on one particular box, election symbol of a particular party. For example, on a box number 1, election symbol of Congress, the palm, okay, is stuck. On the second box, in box number 2, the election symbol of BJP, that is the lotus, is stuck. And in such a way, different parties' logos or symbols were stuck on the boxes. Why was this? So that the illiterate people who can't read the ballot box, they were given blank ballot papers, okay, and they were supposed to drop these blank ballot papers in the box of their choice. Okay, suppose if they want to vote for the Congress, they will drop that blank ballot box in that particular box. All these boxes were kept together in that particular area, and what they have to do, just pick up that blank ballot box and put it in the box which party they have to vote. Suppose if they want to vote the BJP, they will put that blank ballot box in that box. Okay. This system ensured that even the illiterate people could vote. Now let us see the journey from the ballot boxes to today's EVM machines. The first election which was held in independent India, that was in 1951-52. This was the beginning of shaping of democracy through electoral politics. In the initial election, ballot boxes were used for the purpose. Ballot boxes were used, metal boxes were used for voting purposes. The use of EVM machines started from the 1990s. After 1990s, the EVM machine were used. Many things could be achieved because of the voting machine. If the voters do not want to vote for any candidate, they can now choose an option, none of the above, or the nota, okay? None of the above, that is the nota. There is now an option. They can press the nota button, that they are not interested, they don't think any of the candidate who is contesting the election is right to become their representative. This option can be given only because of the voting machine, otherwise it was not possible. It has become easy for the disabled people or the Divyangs to vote. It reduces, the EVM machines reduce the cutting of trees for paper, and thereby help in the protection of the environment. For the preparation of the ballot paper, you need lot of trees to be cut to prepare the special type of paper. So now because of the EVM machine, the cutting of trees have stopped, so have come down. So it helps in saving the environment. It has also been possible to have an early declaration of election results because this election machines, they digitally count the voting. So it is with the press of a button you can find which party has got how many votes in that particular machine. So it becomes easier, otherwise it used to take a lot of time, days together to count manually the votes casted in the ballot boxes. Okay. So now let us understand the different types of elections. Okay. Now you have heard of the general election. General elections are the elections which are held for the Lok Sabha, and these elections are held